about that segment, and you'll be seeing that over the next couple days here on Oshkosh Live, powered by Redbird Flight, which seems like our amazing sponsor, our amazing partner, seems like a perfect segue to get into our first guest of the day. Someone I had a great time talking to last year, and I want to introduce right now, and that is Director of STEM Education for Redbird Flight. The one, the only, Greg Roark is at the Oshkosh Live desk. Thank you, sir, for being with us.
Yeah, Sean, good to see you.
Right.
Good to see you, Brian.
And obviously everybody at home can see Greg and I both have the same stylist, really pushing us in the same direction. These are things that Ryan, as you can see, can't understand, right?
Yeah, he'll get there.
He'll get there one day.
Yeah.
Well, I think the best place to start, Greg, is obviously we are here at the desk, a lot of action here in the Redbird booth, but certainly had our eye on you yesterday, teaching the youth, working with them. And I got to just tell you, it is just such a wonderful scene just to stand back and watch you do your thing. It's so impressive. And I just want to say that first and foremost. I hope you get a lot of love and appreciation from your students and the parents of those students. But it is really a sight to see.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's great. We figured this is my 11th year that I've been doing these labs here. And one of the coolest things, you kind of alluded to that a bit, is when you see the students now that you have had in these classes here. And remember, these are just quick, just brief lessons that we have. And you see that fuse that it lights in these kids. To now have some of these kids coming back years later who, have flown into Oshkosh themselves with this. Now they're bringing their younger brother in here for this. You have these girls that are out here right now coming in here showing me their pictures of Orville and Wilbur, on this thing where they have become pilots. And it's the coolest thing. I mean, it really is. So I'm blessed in getting to do this.
Well, I got to say, everybody can see it at home, but for those of us here in the Redbird booth, you can look out, and this morning before the booth opened and see kids and their parents waiting in line to, get with Greg, be a part of one of the seminars or the courses here. Not quite like a Guns N' Roses concert, but there was a good group of kids and parents standing out here asking questions, waiting to get in, trying to get signed up. So the word is spreading, Greg.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's awesome. Every year it seems to grow. Every year you have more and more people. Every year you have people who sign up sooner and sooner, and it's like you get here and most of the classes, they start filling up pretty good. We still try to leave room, just for those of you that are watching at home, we're still leaving room for people to come up day of, so that as space permits, be able to get your 6th grade through 12th grader in here and have some fun.
Ryan, where did as far as like your education and coming into the world, did you have any formality to it, or how did you come into the world?
Well, I always was a big I like the sort of business side of aviation, but that's not to say I didn't take flight lessons.
Sure.
And I actually, in college, I went to Arizona State University, and we had a Redbird sim of our own, and that's how I kind of really fell in love with kind of being out there. And
how cool is that?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Hey, I did a better job than you did last year flying.
No, I just like how you connected those dots. Like a little bit of your backstory. You brought it back to the sponsor. You brought it back to Greg.
Yeah.
So, well done.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was a great fun time, to be able to go down and just kind of do some proficiency, kind of try different scenarios. And, we had a lot of fun with it. And it helped out a lot of our instrument students and, everybody really. So it was great. It was great stuff.
Greg, I've actually digging some dirt on the internet on you. Ended up on the Redbird site and read a couple articles that you had written and posted there. And forgive me, this is a few years old, but you had written a piece in 2020, and you were kind of talking about the pros and cons of online learning. And obviously 2020 kind of changed the world as it relates to people being together when they learn or doing it remotely. Without putting you on the spot to kind of remember that article, but maybe tell us a little bit, because obviously so much of this, obviously right here, is hands-on learning right in front of you, but certainly to get the word out, you need that online connection. Tell me a little bit how you balance those two, the pros, the cons, the challenges, the opportunities as it relates to reaching people in person versus, online, as it were.
It's there's a time and a place and a proper situation for like all of it. As Ryan mentioned, the digital part of things like this, it's like it or not, it's just part of where we are. That first outreach piece, that distance learning element of things like that, for a lot of students is going to be their first exposure into something. And so with that, there are certain very effective things that you can do from a distance learning standpoint, but at some point, you're going to have to come in and lay hands. And at some point, you are going to have to come in here and put your hand on the throttle quadrant and feel that yoke and to feel the things going on. So there's a balance of that, that's kind of been my experience. We had a situation clearly that we all remember that we were forced into that here as well. But then we do have certain programs that are still running that offer that distance learning piece, and then they have the rotational element where the students that are watching these courses online then can come into a lab similar to mine here and actually be able to do the practical part of it.
Very cool.
That's very cool.
It also says our producer, again, digging dirt and you putting notes together. Here's one of our bullet points. Will get emotional if you bring up his students. So obviously ratings soar with tears. So if I could get you to maybe tell a story about the student who has touched your heart the most, and do not be afraid to really let the waterworks go.
Oh, so come on! You've got the tissues, right? You got that.
We can use the Redbird hat to dab your eyes if you need to.
Awesome. No, I mean you do this as long as I have. I've been doing this for like 18 years now, and you do this long enough, and any instructor like that will have these students that will come through, and all of a sudden you get this phone call kind of out of the blue, no pun, and you hear these stories about the awesome things that these kids are doing. And it's so rewarding, and it really is, because anybody who teaches, anybody who's been in that classroom, there's more than just one time when they kind of look out there and they go, why am I doing this? And then you get these kids that do these awesome things. I got kids flying F-15s in Germany. Got a former kid out here who's doing awesome stuff with Thunderbirds. I've got kids that are working here as electronic engineers at Boeing. I got kids that are in all branches of the military doing all sorts of things. And then I have kids that have taken a lot of these skills that they learned in our sim lab, because it's not all about the pointy end of the airplane. I mean, there's so many other things that they learned through here. All of these soft skills that everybody was talking about, these are necessary skills. And the teamwork, the decision making, all of these things that they have done, the way that they have laid out their lives by practicing the skills that they use in labs like this all over the country, so that it's not just the people who want to become pilots or want to become any form of an aviator. You've got these other kids that go through this that are now succeeding in life, and that's really, to me, the most rewarding part of that. Because we're going to build pilots, we're going to do that. I mean, you got these little rock stars that walk in here all day long. You're going to build pilots. What do you do with the other 80% of those kids that come into those classes? That's the part that really, that I really try to focus on, to make sure that they have these transferable skills that regardless of what they decide to do, they're going to be great.
So
no tears, by the way.
No tears. You did a good job.
All right,
I can see the viewership plummeting. Thanks, Greg. Well done. Anyway, Ryan, I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, you're good.
So you're talking about the number of years you've been doing this, and it, to me, seems like would date back to ostensibly the beginning of the company, right? As far as how long you've been here doing this, is that about from the start?
Well, yeah. I mean, Redbird started kind of before I did. So I started this journey kind of back the latter part of 07, the beginning of 08. With that, I was a Redbird customer before I became a Redbird employee. So the programs that I built programs in a couple different states, and using Redbird equipment. Plug for Redbird here with that. But it was everything, the support, the fact that you've got kids sawing away on equipment like this all day long with that, and so it's got to be robust. It's got to work. So I went with Redbird, and over time there was a thing that we did at my last school in Colorado. We did a thing called the Around the World Flight Challenge, and as we do this, kind of gearing up for it, Charlie Gregoire, they brought in a film crew, and they did this thing, when they were doing the Wings to Oshkosh deal, and they had one of the employees kind of part of the team. And Charlie saw exactly what I had been telling him, for years about kind of, this part of the market and the importance of being able to offer these types of experiences to kids. And when he was there, he's like, I get it.
Yeah.
I see that now.
Awesome.
And so that's kind of when the talks sort of started to begin to say, come into the light. Come into the light, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's been awesome, the support to be able to cast a wider net. We're in hundreds of school districts now across the country, and that part is just so cool. It's so rewarding, because that was my dream at the very, very beginning, is to be able to say, how do I do this? How do you scale this? How do you get this into more kids' hands? And it's been very, very cool that they've allowed me to be able to do that. So.
Well, that's a perfect segue, because we actually have one of the mini stories from the Redbird STEM education. We have a video teed up to tell us the story of one of the students who's been a part of that program. Take a look.
The wonderful thing about aviation is it makes STEM tangible. There was a number of us in this area, in a local area, and across the industry that have spent a lot of time talking about, again, our workforce development challenges and how do we encourage people to find a pathway into the industry. And we realized that the younger that the kids are that get introduced to aviation, the more sticky that is. We had an opportunity to put a school on an airport, which really is a great motivator. I mean, the Colorado Skies Academy today is on the approach end to one of the runways at Centennial Airport, so our kids can look out the door and see airplanes landing and taking off, and it's just reinforcement to their studies. So we thought that would be a great opportunity, and then we decided that really middle school was the right age to make that introduction. And over the last 5 years, it's proven to be a good decision. We're starting that spark here at an early age. So part of that stickiness that I'm talking about is as they go through these different projects that have an aviation focus, they're doing things that's tangible that they can hold in their hands, and it makes sense. And so our kids love that, and so they continue to do these projects because they're interesting and they're meaningful, and it makes the math that they use or the science that they apply something that they understand.
I just kind of like airplanes in general. They're really fascinating to me.
Yeah. Some of my favorite subjects are history, science, and reading. I really enjoy aerospace because I've really liked space. When I was younger, I had my birthday party at a planetarium just because I love space so much. What else?
I mean, it's really neat to just continuously be like awestruck by some of the stuff they bring in, like that drone right there. It wasn't always there. It was only like brought in last quarter, I believe. So yeah, they like interchange all the planes. It's very unique. Yeah.
If I had to wait until high school or maybe college to learn about aerospace, it would be more challenging because middle school is kind of gets into your head more because you don't know less. It'll kind of be cemented when you get into high school. It also just like freedom classes. So instead of maybe doing basic aerospace in the first start of high school, you might be getting into advanced parts all in the same year. Another
exciting part of our program is the use of flight simulators and the ability to get our kids a chance to fly. So we have a Redbird simulator that we put them in. We also bring them over to Exploration of Flight to fly the full motion simulator. And for them, it's taking what they're working on in paper and in theory and actually applying it to a hands-on environment, and it excites them. And we see our kids coming back over and over again, wanting that lesson over, to have that opportunity to fly a sim. And it's, for them, it's taking, again, something it's not a game, and they understand it's not a game. They're taking a tangible lesson, a tangible problem, and solving that problem and flying it then in the airplane. And so that's I think also a great takeaway is they recognize this is real world, and they look out the window, they see real airplanes flying, and they can relate what they just learned on the simulator to what they see happening on the runways out here.
It's just nice being able to fly and doing landings that are not good for commercial pilots, but pretty good for middle schoolers.
I actually do simulators like flying the planes and learning about them too.
Do you enjoy that?
Yeah, I think it's really fun.
This is about growing the workforce from the inside out, and so when you expose young people at an early age, they have an opportunity to see what kind of jobs, what kind of career, what kind of life aviation and aerospace might be. I wish I would have had that when I was that age, but to be exposed to it and to see what a great industry is. I mean, we're an industry that has tremendous career opportunities and a lifetime career pathway that's just fantastic. So they get to see it at 10, 11, 12 years of age.
So my goal is to become an entrepreneur later in life, and one of the main companies I'm interested in forming is like an airline of sorts.
When I really want to be, when I grow up, I either want to make rockets or be an archaeologist. With the rockets in aerospace, we learn how they're made and how the history of them, how they've been made, and how they're still working on them becoming better in the future, and things like that. Just already knowing how they work and the parts in them, I feel like that could already help me with growing and learning how to make rockets.
I want to get into the satellite development thing, whether that be an aerospace engineer or something similar like an analyst.
My hope is that Colorado Skies Academy is helping to build the next generation of leaders and members of the aviation industry.
My name is Ricky Jack. I am 12 years old and I am a 7th grader at Colorado Skies Academy.
My name is Liam Proviance. I am 13 right now. Gonna turn 14 this year. I'm in 7th grade.
So I'm Cami Orbanks. I'm 12 and I'm in the 6th grade at Colorado Skies Academy.
There's so many of us that are absolutely passionate about aviation. So helping to bring the next generation along is not just an obligation, but it's part of really realizing that passion.
Greg, is that a little bit like a family photo album of sorts?
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah, what they're doing down there, and Mark and the team, and I mean they're really doing it. They're moving the needle, and it's great because when you start kids young, it's like what they're trying to do, and you put them on the path early. That's really where the magic happens. So typically we'll have schools that will ask and they'll say, okay, well, I'm going to have a program here for juniors and seniors. And I'm going, well, okay, well, that's great. But we need to start thinking down here in the elementary level. We need to start thinking here at the middle school area. For instance, I start these kids here in the 4th grade on these sims like you see here behind me. And by the time that they're in the 6th grade, they're shooting instrument approaches into Maui. They will do more than what you think they'll do. And then the challenge for programs like this is to stay ahead of that ball. And then, but that's awesome. That's a great position to be in, because if we can move things here at this level in the K-12, well, then what can you do in post-secondary with that? And what can you do at Lockheed Martin? What can you do at Boeing with somebody like this that we produce? So these kids, one of the things that we teach here in aviation, obviously, is the most important thing in aviation is never turn down an opportunity to pee. No, seriously, that's not the first one.
Actually, but that's an important one, though.
It's not bad. But it's like the most important thing in aviation is the next thing. What's next? What's next? Well, when you're working with kids a lot of times, especially for the first time, long-term planning for them is like lunch, And by going through these programs like this, working as a team as they fly these longer missions, and they are forced to expand themselves down the road here mentally, they can start to embrace some of the things that these young people here were talking about on this video, to saying, I'm now thinking about what I want to do out here in the future, versus, getting the standard, I don't know, one of those things. So it really is important.
So is there, without being too specific about it, do you, with these, as you're starting, like you said, with these 4th graders starting from zero, is there typically a moment when it's something they see or do or try or achieve that you tend to see, like, it's usually that moment that the eyes widen, the aha moment, oh, I've got them locked? Is there a part of the program you see, like, it's typically when they get there that, you know, they see it, they experience it, they buy in, and they're off and going?
Yeah, and it happens differently for every student is different. Everybody is there, but it's what is funny is that there always is that moment, and to be there when that light comes on.
Sure.
And it's like when the student finally realizes on a particular maneuver or a particular type of decision making that they have to do with that, and all of a sudden you see that head turn and you see those wide eyes and you go, ah, I get it. Or you have a corollary that they figured out something from this mission over here that they've applied to this mission here, and then they're going, oh, we get it. So yeah, that happens all the time. And for old teachers like myself, that's part of the payoff, you know,
Yeah.
to be able to be there and to see that. So
Yeah.
yes, there is.
So if someone wants to be, if there's a parent out there and they're watching the mighty Greg Roark talk and inspire, and they want to get their family, they want to get their kids involved, what are some of the best ways? How would you recommend they take their first step besides waiting outside the booth here?
Yeah. You know, I think explore those things locally. There may be something out there that you just may not be aware of. But then the other thing is that we kind of just over the years, we have a pretty good network of, like, not just aviation side, but educational side things with all the schools and everything that we do now. Give us a call.
Yeah.
Send me an email, and I'll help kind of direct you with that. And if it's a program, we have a session tomorrow here at about the noon hour, I think, where we're talking to parents, administrators, teachers about how do you build an aeronautics program in your community with that. And so we'll be talking about that tomorrow.
Very cool.
So
I know you're going to be busy here. I've been seeing you busy. Is there anything you want to get out? I mean, you're no rookie here to Oshkosh. Is there anything you specifically want to get out and see, or you love seeing every year when you're here?
it's yeah, but the problem, Sean, as you know, is that when you're working out here, I mean, we're all of us here at Redbird, we're all aviation geeks, just, you know, like everybody else who flocks into Mecca here to see all of this. And I still, if I get a chance to even just walk down here to the circle and you just do just a slow 360 and to see everything there, to see all of that hardware, to see everything that's represented by that hardware here, I still get goosebumps.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I like seeing everything. I'm in the process of building an airplane here, you know, so I do that. So I try to get down there to the build center if I can, you know, just try to get help with it.
I was doing a walkabout yesterday after we were done with the show, and to your point, I'm just walking and walking and walking. I mean, I don't want to make any recommendation to EAA, but like 60 planes would be a lot more achievable for me to get around. This 10,000 is just an unachievable number. Give me a nice 50, 60. I can get that done.
Let's run that up the flagpole.
Yeah,
let's see
we'll get
how
that
they
kicked
do
around
that.
for you. I'll make some calls.
Well, I appreciate the support. We're going to throw it out to the fans to decide.
Yeah.
But, Greg Roark, you are the man. It's so admirable what you do, and obviously, like, that video shows the work that you're doing, and that the STEM education at Redbird Flight is doing is literally changing lives, and you can't do better work than that, right?
We keep doing it.
Well, I want to give a big thanks not only to Redbird Flight, our sponsor and partner here for Oshkosh Live, but to Greg Roark for taking a couple minutes before he gets into the classroom right here next to us and gets back to, as you said, would you say earlier, like corrupting minds?
That's it. Influencing minds, or in our case, you know, warping impressionable minds.
Impressionable minds is the way you put it. That's very well done. Greg, thank you so much
Sean,
for being here. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming. Thanks.
Good to see you.
Awesome. And